Discover the brain-first approach to recovery with Emergo Academy and join our Recovery Club. Surround yourself with a supportive community free of guilt and shame and gain access to coaches and recovery experts with lived experience. Dave and Susan Kenny, co-founders of Emergo Academy, have developed these methodologies over the last 15 years. And as a member of the Recovery Club, you get exclusive access and resources to achieve your recovery goals and relieve the suffering. Stay up to date with live group meetings, Emergo TV updates, and 24/7 access to the private Recovery Club. Visit emergoacademy.com and join the Recovery Club today.
Okay.
It's us now.
That's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Thanks, Ted Perkins, for that new intro.
Addicted in Film. Ted Perkins made that and created that for us, sent it to us this week after watching the first Emergo TV last week. So anyway, my name is Dave Kenny.
I'm Susan Kenny.
Okay, it's good to do an intro. And because it's happy hour in most of the places, we're drinking today. Yep. And what are we drinking?
Today is cucumber with apple and ginger.
I love the ginger, by the way. The ginger is got that bite to it. And so this is our pick-me-up. I love these things. Try to do them every afternoon. Don't get them every afternoon, but I love them. And we welcome to Emergo TV fans and friends. And welcome, Susan.
Welcome, Dave.
All right. So we
I
have...
can't believe another week has gone by.
Neither can I. So this is live, and Emergo TV is ask us anything about recovery or addictions, substances or non-substance behavior issues, how to help people.
And anything in crisis.
Coaching, recovery coaching. And we've gotten a handful of questions were submitted earlier. And so our wonderful producer, Nate, has got those. And as well, feel free as you join to send questions. And if you're watching this later and you want to send us questions, you can DM us or email us you can either put Susan at or Dave at emergoacademy.com. And Emergo, what's Emergo mean?
Emergo means to rise above.
That's the butterfly, to rise above. Emergo is the Latin root to emerge and to rise above. And that's what we want to help people with. So whether you are struggling, maybe you have a loved one that's struggling, we talk about relieving the agony of suffering. And if you are in that place or have been in that place or know others, or maybe you have a calling as a healer to help people as a recovery coach.
And you like a little faster pace. So the difference between a recovery coach, crisis and recovery coach, and a life coach is things come at you a little faster. And so if people are attracted to you, if they already share what's going on in their life and you're a trusted source for them, that could mean that this could be your calling. You could be the light that people are waiting for.
Oh,
Nate's flashed up a question for us. I have been a sponsor for 10 to 12 people over the years. I have been thinking about becoming a recovery coach. How can I become a coach? And what's the difference between a recovery coach and a sponsor?
there's a lot there.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there.
Okay. How can I become a recovery coach? What's the difference? Well, let's start with what's the difference between a recovery coach and a sponsor. Most sponsors, I would assume this person submitted this question, has AA or NA 12-step background, because that's where the word sponsor typically comes from. So I think that's pretty safe to make that assumption. I got to be careful about making assumptions. So it is vastly different. A sponsor is about, here's our process, here's our steps, our 12 steps, and guiding and leading somebody through that as a sponsor or a buddy or a mentor.
And using personal experience.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And a coach is about, first of all, as a coach, you're a professional. So you have a professional relationship. And as a recovery coach, if you're working independently, some people work in hospitals, some people work in recovery centers, some people work in therapist offices. And we just talked to two people. One is a therapist and one is going to join as a recovery coach. So there's all sorts of things as a professional, but the recovery coach's job is to make sure your client is the hero. It is their journey, not your journey. And we often say this, we again taught this in our class. We certify recovery coaches actually. We taught this again today as a reminder today, is that the recovery coaches don't have the answers. The best recovery coaches
have the best questions.
Boom.
They're able to mirror back and reflect to somebody to get them thinking differently about solutions for their journey. And as Dave mentioned, a sponsor works in a 12-step form or thing. A recovery coach draws on all kinds of neuroscience, coaching ability, being able to connect, asking deep, meaningful questions, all to get somebody connected to their own motivation to want to create change.
Right. And now there's a couple places you can become a recovery coach. In some states in the U.S., it's called peer support services. The difference of that, a peer support person is somebody who has lived experience. You don't have to have lived experience. Sometimes it's helpful. Sometimes you have to learn a new way of communicating, because it's not about your journey. It's about the individual's journey. So peer support or recovery coaching, we do an international certification here at Emergo Academy. You can reach us out by Dave or Susan at emergoacademy.com. And we have a class starting in May, actually. And so if you're interested in that, you can jump on our website, check it out. You can email us. We'll send you a link. But it's an 8-week certification course.
And one of the biggest differences, you get paid.
Oh.
So if you're a sponsor, this is a volunteer. You're connecting with somebody, but it's not a business. Being a crisis and recovery coach is a very in-demand coaching business.
Well, it's actually the number one in-demand business right now in coaching. Yeah. You take all coaches, life coaches, business coaches, all that, and fitness coaches, nutrition coaches, sales, marketing coaches. The number one in demand is a recovery coach, because demand, well, here's another fact. 90% of Americans, this is stunning, 90% of Americans who struggle with an addiction or want some help do not get professional help. Well, we like to say, well, not for long, because we're training a whole bunch of recovery coach warriors to help people in need.
That's a great question.
I don't know. Yeah.
Thank you.
What else we got? Oh.
In your opinion, is addiction a disease? Is it genetics? Okay, that's a good question too.
Well, I'll take the first one. First part of that.
So you want the disease part?
I'll take that one on.
You're
ready?
On.
Okay, yeah. In our book, Recovery, Actualized Recovery, right there. You can get it on our website. You can get it at Amazon. But what it is everybody defines addictions as one of two things. First of all, there is no one definition, but there's two main definitions, that it's a brain disease or brain disorder. Well, let's not get stuck in disease or disorder. Disorder is more of the psychiatric psychology background. Disease is more the medical background. That's the model. AA adopts more of the disease model. Doesn't matter. It's a brain-related issue. And that's why in Actualized Recovery, we have a brain first, or have the brain first approach to lasting recovery. Hang out, you'll learn more throughout today's show. But it has been shown not to meet the criteria of a disease, despite the fact that it's very popular. But it is a brain issue, and we can get into that later.
I want to add something to that. So here's why I even though it doesn't fit into those boxes, here's why I actually like that it's even being considered disease or disorder, is it takes it away from blame, shame, and willpower. So when you put, at least people are saying now, oh, it's brain, right? It's brain related. It's now taking it to something where there's not a stigma attached to it. So that's what I like about it.
True. It is a brain issue, and it's an organ like a liver or kidney or a lung, and we approach helping people with things like that in a non-judgmental, shame-free way. And so, by the way, that's with a substance. Here's the issue: where does disease fit if it's gambling? Like there's nothing ingested. So it is a brain issue, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And our book, chapter 2, is dedicated to all that. And I don't want to rehearse or read chapter 2 tonight, but that's,
So
the genesis.
The last part of that question was about genetics. Is it genetics? The short answer is no, it's not. And so although genes are a wonderful theory, and it's not just in the world of addiction, there's lots of things that are placing blame or having people look at genetics. And here's the reality. You can have twins which share exactly the same genetic code, but their lives can be vastly different. So the influence is epigenetics, or what's above the gene is your lifestyle.
That's a big word.
So genes are like the gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger on that. So although genetics have a place, it doesn't mean that it's an absolute given. And more so, when you look at a family that has addictions in the family, it's more about what goes on within the home, right? So if I've used this as an example in the past. You got the Manning family, which are the football quarterbacks. So that's passed down from grandpa to dad to sons. They don't have a gene that makes them better football players. What they grew up in is an environment, or their environment is conducive to, maybe more practicing, and football was big in the house. It doesn't mean that they have a gene. So I hope that makes sense.
Well, it also takes us to power of choice, which is, we call it your superhero.
Yeah, it's your superpower.
Whether you have an addiction issue, behavioral issue, or not, we all do. Actually, we all do at some degree, and some level. But choice, you are not powerless. Let's put it that way. And there's a lot of people, and there's a few programs that believe you're powerless, and you have to admit you're powerless. Maybe if you have a couple of shots of tequila, or if you have one cigarette, forget it.
Right.
And any ex-smoker will tell you that if I have one, it's done. Okay, then you may be powerless because of the physical addiction that happens. But you had power in choice before you had the first drink or the first smoke, or you went to Vegas for a holiday. Don't go to Vegas if you got a gambling problem. Maybe go to Florida or Costa Rica. We like Costa Rica. What do we got here?
Nate, what are the first signs of an addiction to alcohol? These are long questions. And how can I get my partner to stop drinking so much? Oh, this is a good question. When he drinks, he binge drinks and is a different person.
First of all, Nate, thanks for putting that up from the Sobriety Diaries podcast. It's a powerful recovery podcast as well. And a little plug for our buddy Nate and our good friend Nate. So what are the first signs of addiction to alcohol? Here's the first signs: is behavioral change, shift, responsibilities being missed, things being missed, sacrifices happening. So those are the first signs. Truth, hiding, and those are the first signs. And then you can get into missing work and all those obvious signs.
It's more of what you are not doing. A great sign of addiction, as Dave says, it's not maybe about the substance or behavior. It's what else is falling by the wayside in your life.
And how can my partner stop drinking? Well,
No. This is phrased very specifically. How can I get my partner to stop drinking so much? And the answer to that is you cannot.
No one can, except the individual.
Right. So if you're thinking that you can make the difference and you can rescue the situation, that isn't possible.
Well, hang on. You might have influence. We agree with that. You might have influence, but you cannot make someone to stop drinking or pull back. And what do you say about change?
People don't resist change. People resist being changed.
Say it again.
People don't resist change. People resist being changed.
That's a powerful thing. And so just to finish this question before we jump to a quick commercial, hang on before we jump to a quick commercial. How can I stop his drinking? There's also, and Dr. Phil, we don't do a lot of Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil teaches us the 4 stages of readiness. This isn't the 4 stages of change, the readiness of change, meaning how ready is someone willing to put a bottle down or a donut down or stop gaming. The first one is compelled by authority, in other words, being told by a judge or a boss, compelled by authority. The second one is to appease people, so to appease your spouse. Third is
that you do have an inkling that there is a problem. You're not ready to create any action on it, but there is a seed planted that might be time for some change.
And the fourth one, my favorite one,
is that you are all in. I am ready to cannonball for not one more day will I tolerate this behavior in myself. I will do whatever it takes.
And when people get to that stage, then magic can happen. And all you can do is maybe, and we'll get into boundaries and the consequences that you can bring some influence, but that's all. That's it. Anyway, we need to stop for our first break tonight.
Thanks for everybody's questions.
Yeah, wow. Good questions. They're long.
Discover the brain-first approach to recovery with Emergo Academy and join our recovery club. Surround yourself with a supportive community free of guilt and shame and gain access to coaches and recovery experts with lived experience. Dave and Susan Kenny, co-founders of Emergo Academy, have developed these methodologies over the last 15 years. And as a member of the Recovery Club, you get exclusive access and resources to achieve your recovery goals and relieve the suffering. Stay up to date with live group meetings, Emergo TV updates, and 24/7 access to the private Recovery Club. Visit emergoacademy.com and join the Recovery Club today.
I cannot love that. That is so cool. That's just all right, and Nate, we can't see the chat, so anybody who's got any questions, Nate, you're in charge of feeding us all the questions as you have been doing, and we'll just sit here and kind of wait for the next question. Here we go.
Our kids will not stop gaming, and it's causing fights in our family. How can we resolve this? Oh, this is good.
Adoption of the kids? Can you?
Sell their games.
No. Well, this is about. Hold it. This is our kids are not causing fights in our family. How can we resolve it? This is simple. This is a simple parenting thing, and this actually ties into the previous question too. This is about boundaries. What's okay in your family, and your family's values. So you get to define your family's values. No one gets to judge your personal or family values. And parenting needs to have a hierarchy. You're not friends with, you are the parents of, the caregivers, the custodians. Love, safety, all those wonderful things are important, but boundaries. And to have a boundary, you must have a consequence. Get over it, because if you don't have a consequence or a result or an outcome, it becomes a threat.
Yeah.
You must do this,
and that's where the fighting comes from.
Right.
The fighting comes from typically no clear boundary and or no clear consequence to when somebody blows past that boundary. So for families, a lot of the families that we worked with, and this is age dependent too. So little kids are going to be different than a teen. What's really helpful is being able to establish family values, things that are really important to your family. So out of fight time, some families did a weekly meeting. They, get together and just check in. And during one of those meetings, it would be great to establish the family rules or the family
and engage the kids.
Exactly, like the whole family is talking about this. The reason why this is really important is when your kids know that here's what we do, here's what we don't do, here's what's okay, here's what's not okay, this is what our family agrees on, then it's not out of context. So when you say, okay, gaming is the issue now, how can we fit gaming into what our family values? So it's a much higher level conversation. And then ultimately, too, what's important, parents need to have a hierarchy. There needs to be a hierarchy. And if there isn't a hierarchy in the family, kids are going to run amok, right? They're going to test boundaries. Arguments that ensue in the home, first of all, parents have to be on the same page. So before any boundary.
You think that's important? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So and have your conversations in private. Get on the same page. If you disagree, have that conversation for 3 days, whatever, until you get on the same page.
Because it can't be, when you present something, you can't have the weak link. You can't have the parent where it goes, well, this is, I don't agree with it, but this is how we're going to do it. You're hooped if that happens.
So this applies whether it's gaming, alcohol, weed, or anything else. So we've had a lot of families, same question, but replace gaming with weed. And one parent says no weed, and one parent says, well, it's okay, just not in the house. And then we ask this question: so can they smoke in your backyard? And they go, well, no. Okay, so to be clear, where can they smoke and not smoke? Well, not on our property. Okay, so here's the next question: can your son, daughter, family member, loved one go across the street, sit on the street, on the curb, look at your house and smoke weed, and then come back in the house? Well, no.
Well, no, they can't do that.
And we've had this conversation.
Right.
Then you need clarity on your boundary. And if they blow through your boundary, let's say they smoke weed in the bathroom. If they blow through it, what's the consequence? Because if you don't have one, and I don't mean create one when it happens, have it established before, calmly, get everybody to agree. And then you just act on it. So that stops what was in the question, all the fights and all of the arguments. What's okay? What's not okay? Brene Brown does a beautiful job teaching this, and it helps bring calmness to families. But remember, as a parent, your job isn't to create peace in your family.
Oh, hallelujah!
It's not. Like listen to this, and this tough.
Yeah, the family is not meant to
you gave me a hallelujah.
Yeah, because it's true. It's not, the family is not about peace. The family is where children learn boundaries and they learn how to be in the world
in a safe place.
Yeah.
So your job isn't peace. It is to create an autonomous, independent, self-sustaining, loving, wonderful person. And at times conflict will reign, and that's okay.
And at times it's going to be loud.
Well,
that's okay.
With limits. With limits. What we got?
You mentioned your book, Actualized Recovery. Oh, somebody picked up on that. Can you share more about it? Where can I purchase it?
Well, you go. You got this. I know you love this one.
Can you share more about it? Heck yeah, we wrote it.
Come on. International bestsellers. Like when it was released,
3 countries. That was pretty cool.
We hit international best-selling in 5 book categories. In 5 categories in Canada, US, and Australia, which was
it was pretty shocking.
In a good way.
Yeah, a very nice surprise.
In a very nice way. So
by the evening.
The book, Actualized Recovery, talks about Actualized Recovery, the brain-first approach to lasting recovery. And actually, the tagline on the book says, it's not about 12 steps. Recovery is a brain thing. Oh, there it is. Look at that.
Thanks,
boom.
Nate.
See, I can hide. Oh, I go this way and I can hide behind it. Thanks, Nate. You see the little sticker, the little badge on that one. And they are now just able to be printed. And we also have electronic copies if you like that. And you can jump on our website and find a copy there. That'd be fantastic. It's also on Amazon, but come to us. Come by. Hang out with us. Check out the website. So, and can we share more with you? Yeah, it's filled with stories. We have even Dr. Daniel Amen, leading neuropsychiatrist in the U.S., the Amen Clinic's famous guy. If you haven't heard of him, you got to hear about Dr. Amen and the brain. He's endorsed the book, and on the back of the book, he's got his endorsement. He said, finally, he actually says that, finally, this is a groundbreaking book and methodology. And he's saying finally because he's saying that somebody understands the connection between brain, recovery, and behavior. And that's what the book's about. It's not about alcohol. It's not about drugs. This is about you or your loved one being their best selves and overcoming. I love the comeback story. Overcoming your adversity, your challenge. We use a lot of words. Here's what it is.
You use a lot of words.
This is, we'll do a word count tonight. Here's what it is. If you have this cloud and you know this, the 2 a.m. question, you wake up at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning, or maybe you're driving your car and you jump like, oh my God, because of some shame or guilt that you have in your life, please pick up the book or come and join us on the website.
Well, the whole, our recovery club
will
meet weekly, and that's where we do a deep dive into actualized recovery. So that's a membership group. If you're interested in really diving deep, that can be for people who are in recovery that want more of a private, interactive, more person to person. It can be for anybody who is a coach or wants to be a coach. So that club will get much, much deeper into actualized recovery. How come more places don't teach about the brain first approach?
Because the book was just written. There we go.
Shout out to whoever asked that.
Because the book just came out.
Yeah. Well,
I'll tell you why. Culturally, it's been accepted for a long time that AA is the approach of the model. The vast majority of recovery programs are an AA-based program. Mm-hmm. The issue there is AA has not adopted, like AA or don't like AA, whatever, has not adopted that the brain is driving negative choices. Everybody wants to influence choices but they're not connecting the dot that right. The thing that's making the negative choices is our 3-pound organ called our brain. And there are ways very easily to begin to shift and change that in a positive way.
And when you look at another model, if you look at the medical model, they're saying brain chemistry, right? They're thinking that brain chemistry drives behavior. What we're saying is brain function drives behavior. So there's 2 different ways of looking at it. But again, brain function drives everything.
So and the other thing is too, we adopted and created and molded this over 12 years running a residential program. We had over 2,000 people through the program and on phone and Zooms, 13 years. Yeah. We had staff from like 14 to like 26.
No, we're about 15 now because we started researching in 2008.
That's true. Okay, it was 2008. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, there we go. I got just tuned in right there on how long it's been. But I agree. I've been sober for 6. First of all, whoa, stop. First of all, way to go. Way to go. Oh, the second part. So I've been sober for almost 6 months.
Congratulations.
How can I rebuild trust with my kids again? First of all, that's a powerful thing. Mm-hmm. And the word sober that jumps out at me. I'm going to offer something. First of all, I congratulate that. I think it's more than sober for my world and for me and our teaching. Mm-hmm. This is about recovery. Isn't about just putting a cork in a bottle. This is about thriving in your life. It's not just about stopping at drinking a liquid, alcohol, but it can be behavioral. It can be how's your sleep, in this case, how's your relationships, how's your finances. And it does start at times with ending a behavior, but I think it's far bigger. I know it's far bigger than just that. And that's how you rebuild your trust. There's only one way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Dave used to do
I forgot about that.
Something in the recovery program. We had 2 glass pitchers with one was empty and one had water. And so the exercise would be, because that was often a question asked by so many people that came, is how do I rebuild family trust? So Dave would pour a little bit of water into the empty jug, pour a little bit more, a little bit more,
Every
a little bit
every
more.
time you do something, you say you're going to be there at 5 o'clock to pick up the kids. You're there at 4:59.
Right.
You get a little deposit. And every time you say you're going to do something and you do it, so your words and your actions align, and you do that over time.
Right.
And
this doesn't do it.
No, I don't. It's empty, especially if you've broken your trust.
Right.
It's words and actions aligning, and your actions and words aligning. Meaning, if you get a speeding ticket, tell your partner you got a speeding ticket. Don't hide that. So your actions and words and actions must come together
and have full transparency
and do it over time.
Yeah.
So,
and remember though, because you're in the rebuilding stage, one event can take out all of that water, everything that you've saved up. So
that makes sense.
Do your best, right? To stay transparent, stay open, stay honest.
And now, Nate, you were on another break, and just a prelude to this one. Nate is our producer and extraordinaire.
So now you're going to get to meet
everything podcast, and this is a wonderful thing. If you're thinking of podcast, check this commercial out.
Hey there, are you enjoying this live stream? Well, I'm the one that helped Dave and Susan bring Emergo TV to life, and I could help you do the same. My name's Nate Kelly, and I'm the founder of Pod Studio, a full-service podcast production and coaching company. I took my first podcast, The Sobriety Diaries, from launch to the top 3% globally in the first 90 days, and I've created this framework to help you achieve the same. Whether you have an existing show and you're looking to kind of level things up, or you're an aspiring podcaster that wants to hit the top of the charts, I'm your guy. Head over to podcastnate.com and book a discovery call so we can talk about your goals and develop a personal plan to launch your podcast, your webcast, your live stream, your social media live event. It's all about unleashing your voice and amplifying your impact. Again, podcastnate.com, book a discovery call, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, I love that commercial, Nate.
And Nate also has a book, and if you jump on his website, if you're interested in anything with podcast, and you don't even have to sign up, you just book a discovery call. Pretty sweet guy, and extremely knowledgeable and helpful. Welcome to Emergo TV. Thanks, Nate.
Christina has a question. Hi, Christina. If you could give one piece of advice to a family who is struggling with a child who has been diagnosed with ADHD, what would that be?
Well, first, understanding what it is. ADHD is a brain issue, and the brain is overactive. And in most cases, although there's different types of ADHD, in most cases, that's the frontal lobe right here. This is the executive manager, and it's overactive. So movement is fantastic. There's a guy who wrote the book, Harvard guy.
John Ratty.
John Ratty wrote the book.
Spark.
This is my Sugal. I call Susan my Sugal. One of our clients named her that. My walking Google. And one of the things they found, Christina, was even in schools, and I don't know if this will help or not, but in schools, they brought in stationary bicycle desks, and people did mathematics and English in these desks where they were pedaling and moving. They found kids with ADHD and other learning challenges, their grades went up, their attention spans went up, their issues of acting out in school went down. And so movement is so critical for them.
I would add to that too, Christina, food. What you do eat, what you don't eat is really critical. If you have, if somebody has ADHD, has been diagnosed with that, what it means to me too is that there's heavy metal toxins in the brain, or that there's residue in the brain itself, and it's preventing the brain from having function or maintaining calm. So what you eat and what you don't eat is super, super important. I'm not sure we we can have another conversation if you want to just DM me privately, and we can continue the conversation. But yeah, lifestyle, movement, food, rest, all of those things, physiology drives psychology.
Here's the other thing. Are we focusing on deficiencies or are we focusing on gifts?
Mm-hmm.
Because people with different brain patterns, dyslexia, for example, struggling reading and numbers, can see different patterns in the world in a very unique way. There are so many people who have been highly successful who have been diagnosed with learning challenges and learning disabilities. Having ADHD is not end of the world at all. It's understanding some things to help them, but also what are their gifts, and focus more on gifts than on deficiencies, while creating, a lifestyle and food, nutrition, caffeine. Let's not do that.
And set everybody up for success.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there's if you have different children with different abilities, then look at everything one child at a time and set everybody up to be successful within the family. Advice on reaching out for help. I have social anxiety.
Well, first of all, there's a commonality here in the world right now. I have anxiety. And my immediate answer is good. That's a good thing. It is. It's a good thing. Having anxiety and being anxious is a normal human feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow we're not supposed to feel that. And anytime we feel that, it's like, oh my God, I feel this. It really means typically that something is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it means that we're fretting and worrying about others and how they perceive us.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that leads to, abuse of substances, because alcohol and marijuana actually slows the brain, changes the brain, because they're a chemical, they're a drug. And I feel relief, and then I repeat this pattern in a negative way. So we're not doctors. We're not going to make any comments about whether people do or do not have mental illness or prescription issues at all. However, there is a healthy amount of anxiety for everybody. And again, anxiety, I would say the same thing we just said with the ADHD question. Movement is huge.
Mm-hmm.
What's your movement like? The other thing is what are you eating and drinking? Are you having Red Bulls during the day?
Mm-hmm. Which contribute, caffeine in the brain, for anybody that has any sort of concern about anxiousness, and you're having caffeine of any kind, and that includes green tea, that includes black tea, that's kombucha. So yes for coffee, yes for stimulant drinks, but that increases the amount of anxiety within the brain, that anxious feeling. Wow. Okay, we got a lot of questions.
My son is in the basement, but I'm developing a resentment. How can I spark a conversation? So, well, what we don't know here in this question is the age of the son. So let's just assume for a moment, all of us, that we're talking about an adult, so 18 years of age and over. Let's start there, because if you're talking about a teenager, obviously some different things come into play. My son is living in the basement. I'm developing resentment. Well, this is interesting. The first part of the question is about the son.
Mm-hmm.
The second part of the question is this person, a parent, seems to be, might be grandparent, it is a parent, my son. So it is a parent. I'm developing, now it's about them. Well, the question is, what's resentment about? What are you resentful for?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason we feel resentment is we aren't clear on our
boundaries.
Thank you.
Yeah, because the moment if you get clear on what's okay, what's not okay, then, and you're not the rescuer. So here's the other thing, that the rescuer or the enabler, somebody who feels like they need to, maybe you're thinking that the son can't take care of himself, and that's why he's not out on his own, he's not independent, is getting very, very clear on, if this is an adult, you now have adults living in the same home. Let's get really clear on what that means, what the expectations
Well,
are.
the second part of the question answers it for yourself. How can I spark a conversation? Number one, have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if the individual is playing victim, which is the definition of a victim, there's three clues actually for a victim, is that they blame others, they justify their actions. You don't understand. I have this, or
Right.
whatever it is. They blame, they justify, or they complain. If they're doing any of those three things, there's a clue that they're being a victim. We got a great ebook on being a victim, unbelievable ebook. Check it out on the site, on the website, and we give that away for free too. So how now
one of the clubs
with the club.
Yeah.
So join the club, you get the book, and as well as way more. You'll see that. But the conversation is to have a conversation about what's okay, what's not okay.
Right.
And, are they going to school? Do they have a job? What are your expectations?
Right. Set up for success again.
And then engage this adult, young child. We're not supporters of this, I'll say it, this BS tough love thing. Kick them out on the street because they're not doing, no, you've got to set them up for success. But there also needs to be a boundary. And to have a boundary, you have to have a consequence or a result. Otherwise, it's
I want
threat.
to share. We had a family that came over for an intervention. They were trying to decide what to do, and it was a 45-year-old who was living in his brother's basement.
Mm-hmm.
And so upstairs they had two small children. The dad actually traveled a lot, and that was his brother that was living down there. And it was chaos. This person living in the basement, it was dangerous. There was food everywhere. Just a lot of gross stuff was happening. I won't even go into it, but it was beginning to influence the two kids that were living upstairs. Like, this is their uncle, and it's not setting a good example of that. So when we had the conversation, we had the mom and dad, we had the brother and his wife come over. They had been referred to us, and we had a conversation with them. They, at the end of, I think we were about 2 hours in, they refused to set a boundary. They couldn't do it. There was no consequence. There was going to be no, if he didn't change or did change, the outcome was the same.
There was a couple of things too that you didn't mention in 2 hours, is that one of the parents, seniors, admitted that the son had taken a significant amount of money from them.
Right.
And the one parent was hiding it from the other parent.
Yeah.
And no boundaries. So this goes back to Susan's thing.
Yeah.
Forget about that for a minute. It goes back to this. You've got to get together and on board.
Everybody.
And if you are a single parent and there's anybody else, aunts, uncles, grandparents that are influences, you've got to bring them in. And if you're two parents, you've got to come together and get on the same page, and then engage the adult child with what's okay in this house and what's not okay in this house. And if they want to continue to do things that are not okay, then it's building a transition plan where they begin to find their own independence on their own.
And maybe doing an intervention. Some of the things that we teach in our courses are about the skills of intervention, what to do.
And what is an intervention? An intervention is intervening with behavior. What you see on TV is kind of
sensationalized.
It's a good word. It's eye-catching and eye-popping. That's not most interventions we've done. I've done personally well over 100 of them. And
no, you're 150 for sure.
150 now? Okay, somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, there was over the years, yes.
I enjoy them because I enjoy helping a family navigate through a crisis and find solutions. So we've also done that remotely. We'll coach families for families to do it. You don't have to show up in person, but it's a wonderful process. And we come from one of the things we do is a gift. An intervention is a gift. Well, your family presents it as a gift, and it's done from love.
Yes.
And if there's any threats involved, I will not be part of it.
Yeah.
It's a gift that you're offering this individual. It's freedom you're offering this
Yeah.
individual. Focus on the end result of that, and it's done from a place of love because it's the only place to come from. So we're getting close here. Yep, we're getting close, Nate. So we have one more commercial break, and then we're coming home down the down stretch of this wonderful Emergo TV.
It goes by
so fast.
Discover the brain-first approach to recovery with Emergo Academy and join our recovery club. Surround yourself with a supportive community free of guilt and shame and gain access to coaches and recovery experts with lived experience. Dave and Susan Kenny, co-founders of Emergo Academy, have developed these methodologies over the last 15 years. And as a member of the Recovery Club, you get exclusive access and resources to achieve your recovery goals and relieve the suffering. Stay up to date with live group meetings, Emergo TV updates, and 24/7 access to the private Recovery Club. Visit emergoacademy.com and join the Recovery Club today.
Okay, I've said it 3 times already. This I'm going to say again. That is so cool.
Oh, I love that graphic.
Anyway, welcome. If you're just joining us, welcome to Emergo TV. I'm Dave Kenny.
I'm Susan Kenny.
And we're here to discuss everything about recovery. Ask us questions, and we got questions. Nate, our producer, has a whole bunch of questions that came in this week. And or fire some questions at Nate. Nate, we cannot see the chat. I'm not sure what I did this week. So if anything comes in, please keep us up to date. And I don't want to click anything because I don't want to hang out.
So we don't disappear.
And Nate, are you out of questions? Because I got lots to talk about. Oh,
AA is triggering for me. Are there other in-person options?
that's an interesting thing.
So my question back would be, why in person? What? So I think that's a send-in question though. So we're going to have to just do our best.
I got this. AA is triggering me. Okay.
Triggering for me.
Yep. So the question would be, if I was talking with you, is, what's triggering, what's coming up and all that stuff. But typically what's happening then is you're in an environment that are talking about what's happened in the past, which is the alcohol, the drugs, the cocaine, whatever it is, that maybe it's even anger and rage, all of the dysfunction and wreckage in the back. That's typically what gets talked about there. And that can be triggering for individuals. That's the difference between that and actualized recovery.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. We talk about, there's nothing you can do about that back there. We've all heard the analogy of trying to drive a car and look in the rear view mirror. No, we're going to look forward. So we talk about, and from a brain point of view, we talk about today, moving forward, what do you want? I'm not sure what other options are in person. I know smart recovery.
Smart recovery.
There's yoga recoveries. There's all sorts of things. By the way, I think yoga is fantastic if you want to add that into your lifestyle. But there's also things online, and I will shamelessly promote our recovery club. We've got a club for $47 a month.
Yeah.
And we join
and stay home.
And Sundays we meet. But then you can join us here as well. So there's 2 hours of your week to meet and share and discuss and be open in a safe place. But there's gobs of more learning. How do you like that? Gobs of more learning.
Nice.
For you.
Nice English.
in your recovery process. So and here's the strange part of this is when our residential program closed, regarding all about the COVID and lockdowns and all of that. When it closed, we went online and we weren't sure. Like we're brick and mortar teachers. We like people in front of us. We weren't sure if we could help people. The efficacy of teaching people online actually was higher than we ever expected.
Ever imagined. We couldn't believe how people were changing by the end of the first week. And we were just meeting for a couple of hours each day, but they were implementing as we were going through the program. So at the end of each day, they knew what they wanted to do. They had an actionable list and they could make those changes before we met the next day.
I got another one, by the way. In person, maybe instead of going to a meeting, hire a recovery coach. Just throwing that out there. and you
Yeah.
can meet with them by Zoom or in person and do some research on a recovery coach. Make sure that they're certified
Yeah.
appropriately and properly.
And
Yeah.
if AA is triggering, then look for things outside of AA.
That's a good point. That makes sense, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. All right. I like all the graphics Nate does. He fires them around. Are we out of questions, Nate? Because I can come up with more. You want more?
Well, we could just have a conversation.
What do you want to talk about?
Ah.
What's for supper?
I already got that going. Okay, I made the best French onion soup yesterday.
It was really good, very healthy, and very delicious.
Yeah.
So, also sometimes seasonal stuff, like Easter just came. And I was thinking about this earlier today. There's all of these holidays throughout the course of a year. The first year with people is a struggle, whether you're dealing with grief, loss of a loved one. The first year is brutal because everything is a first. The first birthday, the first Thanksgiving, and go on. And then social, I guess, in our communities, we're all used to at weddings people drinking, and at funerals people drinking, and
when
4th of July
family
people
comes
drink.
together,
And,
that can be triggering too.
so how do we navigate these parts of, like, do we just disappear from them? And I would say no, not to disappear with them.
Yeah.
But a tip for you, if this is you and you're navigating through this and wondering, oh my God, I got a wedding to go to, or something's coming up, talk to people in advance, communicate, be open. Hey, look, I did a reunion last fall in Northern Arizona University. Big shout out to the Lumberjacks.
Yeah.
But in advance of that, I talked to a bunch of guys that we were going to, and I said, here's the deal. I wasn't sure I was going to go. And I talked to a few people, and here's the deal. And here's where I'm at. And everybody like blew me away with their love and the support. And so I built some support around some of those connections I have. So I offer to you to step into it. Don't step away from it.
What I noticed being there with you is you actually started to hang out with other guys who maybe weren't your best buds
But became
when you
better.
were in, but you all have similar lifestyle now. And yeah, I enjoyed meeting those people, and the other people that were still partying were still doing their thing. And
I had two guys come up to me and say that our work has inspired them to live a new life, and things are better than ever for both of them. So that was really cool, because I didn't know that was going on. So that's all I would say, that lean into it.
Yeah.
Talk to people, be open, and then have your boundaries, so that if you find that people are disrespectful of that, you have to have a consequence, which is move along, find something else to. Maybe you go back to your hotel or hang out with some other people to keep your environment, because your environment's powerful. Keep it in a way that you would like it to be.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to add, is it's your responsibility to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, whatever that looks like. So an example out of alcohol and drug use or anything like that, when Dave and I changed how we were eating, we didn't think it was anybody else's responsibility at dinners to provide food for us. So yes, there would be a conversation. Family members or friends did their best, but ultimately we brought things with us so that we could enjoy the celebration, have some fun, and know that we were still nourished. We weren't imposing on anybody else. And if there was any judgment about that, so be it. We did go somewhere and somebody got a little ticky that we didn't eat what they had created, what they made. But that's okay.
Here's the thing, though. We're talking about a life, as I listen, that is a little bit limiting and restrictive. I disagree. What we're talking about in recovery is the greatest freedom, the greatest, deepest, richest freedom. I'm not beholden to a cigarette maker who has hijacked my brain and forces money out of my pocket every day or every week. I'm not held to the shame and the guilt of actions that I've taken from alcohol, where I've done things that are out of character for me.
Mhm.
Those are punishing. Those are dark.
Mhm.
This is about, I get to choose where I go, what I do, when I want to do it. And I have way more fun than I've ever had in my life. I laugh. My gosh, I laugh because it's real.
Well, we get to drive through check stops. We're like the people. We're the crazy people. Like, there's a check stop.
What's your
Nate,
favorite?
what's your favorite spring salad recipe?
Well, first of all, Nate, you need this question in about a week or two because we're in Calgary, Canada, and it snowed here today on April 4th.
Yeah, so there is no spring right now.
I'm not feeling springish. I need a bowl of soup tonight. But what is your favorite spring salad?
I don't have a favorite. I don't actually follow recipes when it comes to things like that. So we go to the farmer's market or we go to the grocery store. I look at what looks good, what looks fresh, what looks awesome. We bring it home and then we make salads, we make stir fries.
I'm going with one. I got one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one. Spinach, strawberries with red onion salad. Little walnut or poppy seed or something on there.
Something like that.
Love that.
Yeah. So it's more, I look at how many nutrients I can get in, not necessarily what the salad recipe might be.
And when it comes to nutrients, I just eat what I'm told to eat. That's a little victim. That's me being a victim.
That's what it sounded like.
So one of the things we talk about at Emergo, especially with our podcast, at the end of every episode, Emergo is a Latin root. It means to emerge or to rise above. It's the Latin root for that. And it's handpicked for a couple reasons, but that's one of the reasons. And we like to talk about what is it that you commit to this week. I'm going to broaden it. This week, what do you commit to rise above in your life, Susan?
Well, we signed up for Masterclass, the online Masterclass series. So I would like to watch 2 of the Masterclasses before next Thursday.
Okay. Yeah. Like just 2 segments or 2 like the 2 series?
They have a series.
You can watch 2 full series. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 binge watching series.
2 binge watching.
I got this.
All right. TV watching is changing in such a great way.
You answer it, and then I have a question for you.
Okay, what am I answering?
The
rise above question? Above. That's easy. I got this. We cleaned our basement. There's a gym. We discovered our gym because it was covered in boxes. And we
moved into our new place not long ago. So we kind of dumped everything.
I'm going to mop the floor because we got the beautiful floor down there and get it all clean. And I'm having my first workout of the week this weekend. That's what I'm doing. And I'll check in with everybody next Thursday on Emergo TV live here. So what's your other question? Because we're down to 2 minutes.
All right. My question is,
what
do you do that you love that nobody would expect that you do?
Oh, goodness. ClickFunnels. Yep. I love marketing and I love doing that and I love creating. And the reason why I love it,
I can vouch for this.
The reason why I love it is in creating ads and things is I like to reach people and reach them in an emotional way. So people can, if it fits for their lives, they know it's there. It's just an offer. I really like marketing and sales from a high resonate, a high energy space, not a pushy space, a real high energy space to talk about the value and benefits of people. That's what I love to do. What do you love to do that people don't expect?
I don't think people would expect me to say this. So
I don't even know where we're going with this.
I love watching Tyler Henry, Hollywood Medium. Like I could absolutely plant in front of my computer and just binge watch. I'm fascinated by Tyler Henry.
Okay.
That's all.
That's it.
There's a little bit about me, a little bit about Dave.
So encourage you to buy Actualized Recovery. There's no stories of Tyler Henry in there, but it is Actualized Recovery and order it there. There's your copy, emergoacademy.com.
And join us next week. Join us same time.
Oh, no. Smash the button.
Smash the button.
Smash the button right now.
So you'll get the
notice next week. And so smash the button or click if you prefer. A little more proper. I like smash. I like
He's a smash kind of guy.
Just smash the button. I'm a cannonball guy. Smash the button. Join us. Please share with others. And next week at this time in these channels, Emergo TV will be back live 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're here to talk about anything and everything about addictions, about recovery, about you, and about thriving in your life. Maybe you want to talk about more brain first stuff. So bring your questions, send them in advance. Next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Thanks, everybody.
Discover the brain-first approach to recovery with Emergo Academy and join our recovery club. Surround yourself with a supportive community free of guilt and shame and gain access to coaches and recovery experts with lived experience. Dave and Susan Kenny, co-founders of Emergo Academy, have developed these methodologies over the last 15 years. And as a member of the Recovery Club, you get exclusive access and resources to achieve your recovery goals and relieve the suffering. Stay up to date with live group meetings, Emergo TV updates, and 24/7 access to the private Recovery Club. Visit emergoacademy.com and join the Recovery Club today.